good?
He's good at
Am I
it.
good?
He's
Yeah.
good.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we're gonna read. What?
Perfect. Do it.
We're gonna read 1 Kings 18, verse 41 to 45. It says, "And Elijah said to Ahab, Go eat and drink for thee, for there is a sound of a heavy rain." So Ahab went off to eat and drink. But Elisha climbed on top of Mount Carmel, bent down to the ground, put his face between his knees. "Go and look toward the sea," he told his servant, and went up and looked. "There's nothing there," he said. 7 times Elijah said, "Go back." Verse 44, the 7th time the servant reported, "A cloud as small as a man's hand is rising from the sea." So Elijah said, "Go and tell Ahab, hitch up your chariots and go down before the rain stops you." Let's pray and then we're going to get into it. Father God, I want to thank you for this message you put on my heart this morning. I pray that as I try to deliver to the people, you convict them, Lord, your Holy Spirit's works ground their hearts, Father God, so that this message will affect their life in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Yes, Lord.
So, in this passage, we see Elisha, after calling fire from heaven, before that, he had stopped rain from falling down on the country for 3.5 years, and then he shows up with and he confronts the Baal prophets, and he says, "We're gonna do a show off and to see who's God." So he says, "Put some, make it well, and then the God that brings fire from heaven, that God is the real God."
Amen.
And then Elisha calls from heaven, the fire comes once. He didn't have to pray 2,500 times. And when I was studying this passage, I was thinking of calling this message the untold truth of grace, because grace will often, you will have to pray once for your blessing, and then in another area of your life, you will have to beg the Lord 7 times for your blessing. And that's something we don't really tell in the church. Usually we forget that, yes, you're going to call fire from heaven in one area of your life, but in another area, you're going to have to be on the ground. You're going to have to go 7 times looking up the mountain. But today, as I kept studying, and I think this message is going to be called "You're Missing It." So touch your neighbor and tell them, "You're missing it."
Hey, you're missing it. You're missing it.
All right, so I'm going to talk about 2 points, really two major points, because in verse 41 it says, Elijah said to Ahab, "Go eat and drink. There is a sound of a heavy rain." We all know that if you want to hear a sound of a heavy rain, you have to walk by faith. The rain is not, it happens by faith. The sound that, because in the country there was no rain for 3 years. You have to understand there was no rain for 3 years. So for a guy to say there is a sound of a heavy rain, he had to walk by faith, not by sight. And faith is hearing the word of God. And then he tells Ahab, "Go eat and drink." But he himself goes to the mountain to the top of Carmel. So my first point is, now what? The first point, for those of you who are taking notes, now what is my first point? In life, you get a word from God. God tells you, "Okay, I'm going to bless you." But then you have to say, "Okay, now what?" You have to ask him, "Okay, do I go party? Like, do I go rejoice? Or do I go in my prayer closet?" We forget that just because he told you something doesn't mean you can just go on about your life and just be happy.
I like that.
That's good, yeah.
Just because God gave you a word doesn't mean you can sleep on it.
Come on.
I like
that's
what
good.
my mom talked about plant, because I also wrote that in my message. When you plant the seed, you have to come back, water it. You have to come back. You don't see what's happening under the earth, but you have to come back and water it. You have to come back and water it. And if you don't water it, the seed might die and it will never flourish. So just because he gave you a word, he said, "Okay, I'm going to bless you with this," doesn't mean it's all good. In Daniel 10, verse 13, Daniel was praying for blessing, but the angel was coming down, but he had to fight a fight for 21 days. Just because you pray about it once doesn't mean it's going to happen once.
That's good.
And you have to write this down. Just because God said something doesn't give you the assurance to sleep on it. Because here, he had to fight. He had to tell the servant, go back more than once. And when God tells us to be still, we mistake that for, okay, I don't have to pray anymore. But be still doesn't mean I don't have to pray anymore. It means relax, stay still. Stay still means though everything around me is going off, everything, hell's breaking loose around me, I am in the middle of the storm, but in the middle of the storm, I am with God.
Yes.
In the middle of the storm, God is with me, so I don't have to worry about the things around me. All I got to worry about is the one who is in front of me and all around me. That is Christ. So when he's telling you, I gave you this word, now you have to act like Elijah. Go in your prayer closet and start bending to the ground and start praying. Pray, 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 because once you do that, you will see that your blessing will come in multiple ways.
Awesome.
I always tell my friends that what happens to you does not define you, but it's the way you react to it.
Amen.
But I like how a philosopher said it. It says it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You have to understand. Okay, you got hurt one moment in your life, but you can't let that moment in your life dictate. There you go. Dictate the rest of your life. You have to be in your prayer closet and say, God, okay, I got hurt. This person hurt me. Oh, I hurt myself, but I'm not gonna let that define me.
That's right.
You have to stay in His will, and you have to dig deep. You have to dig deep in His word so that He can now push you into being who you were called to be.
Amen.
Good.
And my second point, this is where I'm going to spend the rest of my time. By the way, I'm short. I don't like speech for long.
You're
So
good.
It's awesome message.
my message is going to be really short. So my second point is go back. So tell your neighbor, go back.
Go back.
Go
Go
back.
back.
Go back.
Go back.
Whenever you hear this message, you always focus on how Elisha went and told his servant, hey, go back. I don't care what's happening. Go back. Go back. Go back. Go back. Nah, you have to, let's just wait. Let's just give thanks to the servant who he was seeing that nothing was happening, but the guy went 6 times. Like that takes faith too.
That's right.
It doesn't, sight, yes, faith is working by sound, by hearing, but you also have to say, yes, okay, I don't see what I want to see, but I'm going to go back. The guy went seven times.
Mm-hmm.
7 times. And then the 7th time he said to his master, there's a cloud the size of a man's hand. Tell the neighbor, whenever there's a cloud,
Whenever there's
Whenever
a
there's a cloud,
God is in it.
God is in it.
No matter how small it is.
That's good.
No matter how small it is. And I want to ask you this question. Why have you stopped on 6?
Oh, come on.
Why have you stopped on 6? Why have you stopped on 6? Because God told you, I'm going to give it to you, but since you don't see anything, you stopped on 6.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? If you'd have just taken another step, you would have seen, oh, my blessing was there.
Yeah.
If you'd have went back a 7th time, you would have seen that God was doing something, I just couldn't see it. Look at the people of Israel. They were praying for a savior, okay? And God was trying to work with Moses, but Moses, because he's Moses, he has to defy God. And he has to say, God, I can't talk. He has to fight God and tell him, I'm not the one you called. He says, I can't talk. But God, see, look at this triangle. The people of Israel were talking to God, okay? God was talking to Moses to go back to the people of Israel to deliver them. But he was not ready. So sometimes it's not that your prayer don't work, it's that the answer is not ready yet. You have to understand that sometimes it just takes you, keep on praying, keep on praying. Just because you can see it does not mean it's not happening. Because God calls what is not into being. So it has to come from nothing that you don't see, and then it flourishes.
Amen.
Come on.
So don't stop on 6. Touch your neighbor and say, don't stop on 6.
Don't stop on 6.
Don't stop on 6, because when you stop on 6, the walls of Jericho won't fall. The breakthrough you want is not going to happen. You have to understand that if you stop on 6, your growth will stop. The opposite of growth is comfort. If you stay comfort. If you're comfortable in your misery, you're not going to want to change.
Come on.
If you're comfortable in your blessing, you're not going to want more blessing.
Come on.
If you're comfortable with whatever you have, you cannot be content with whatever you have. When it comes to Christ, you can and will get more. You can want more because you will get more. He is the creator of heaven and earth.
Amen.
And sometimes we have to know that God is just working the ground. He's just working on Moses because Moses doesn't want to do what he's called to do. You just have to keep on praying. It hurts sometimes, but you have to keep on going.
Amen.
And I don't know if you guys paid attention to the last 6 months, all the messages Pastor D has been praying about the preaching, about the Holy Spirit being our friend. I don't know if you paid attention to that, but I think all these messages are leading to this moment in right now.
Amen.
What I'm preaching right now. I really think this message is a prophetic word because I also was preparing for this. God was paying my attention to the servant. I don't know if you guys listened to his sermon last Sunday, but he said that the church does the work, the pastors bring the word.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just let that sink in. You do the work, and he brings the word.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mixture of faith and works. With faith without works is dead.
That's right.
So he brings the faith to bring out, or how could I say, relight our fire so that we can go back into the world and start working on what we're called to do.
Well said.
And here, okay, good. All right. So here Elisha is telling his disciple, go back. And some scholars have been thinking what position was Elijah in. Some think he was like, like here, like this, but I'm not that flexible, so I'm not gonna try to do that. But for my message, I want to use this tense. Some people think he was like this. And back in the days when women were about to give birth, they did not have a bed. They were like this.
That's right.
And guess what? When you're about to birth something, you're gonna have to be in the birth position so that when you bring it out, it hits the ground and it impacts the whole world.
Come on. Wow.
No matter how painful it is, get in the birth position and just start praying. He never looked up once and told us, he was like this the whole time. Go back. The guy was like this the whole time. What was he doing? Focusing on what he was calling into being.
Yes.
Sometimes you cannot hesitate. You cannot try to look up and go back down here. You have to stay here, and then once it starts, it hits the ground.
Come on.
You
That's
have to
good.
understand that God works in miracles.
Yes.
Now, I want to read one more thing, okay? He said, there is nothing there. 7 times, nothing there.
Mm.
And we've been in, like, this church has existed for 8 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is our 8th year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys know what 8 means?
Yeah.
Yes.
New beginnings.
Come on.
Amen.
Guess what? God is about to do something.
Come on.
You cannot stay like this. You have to get in your birth position.
Come
Amen.
on.
You have to start praying
Yes.
for a miracle.
Yes.
You have to start looking out because God is on the move.
Yes,
We all
yes.
know this. We're
Yes.
just comfortable. We don't want to move with Him. He's always, constantly on the move. You
Yes,
have
He
to
is.
understand that He is ready to move. And those messages about the Holy Spirit, they were not messages just for messages. They
Come
were
on.
telling you that
Yes.
you have a friend who's going to go out there with you and he's going to work with you. You are
That's
not
right.
alone in this.
That's
You are
right.
not alone in this.
Yes. Good.
There is nothing there, but he told his servant to go back. And I want to tell you today, go back to those promises you made to the Lord. Go back because you're missing the point.
Mm.
You thought just because he didn't say yes yet doesn't mean he said no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Him being silent does not mean he's saying no.
That's right.
He's just working on it.
Mm.
And sometimes you might be in the process, but you don't even realize it. Sometimes you might be in the process, but you just don't realize it. You have to go back. And I also want to bring this to the church. About 5 months ago, I think it was after the Antioch meeting in Barry, Pastor D came here and said that we're going to believe for souls now.
Yes.
And first of all, I want to apologize to both of you because when you said that, I was looking to you guys to start working out that word. And something that God told me when I was preparing this message, actually, He said, no, they bring out the word, but the church, the people in the pews, work the word. my focus on you acting out that word because it was my responsibility to work out the word. So first, before I continue, I want to ask both of you for a number. What's a number you want the church to be by the end of the year?
Right now?
A number right now.
Let's look for, how about 40 people?
Okay,
So we're going to believe for 40 people because the
Yeah.
Bible says without a vision,
come on.
the people
Perish.
perish.
That's it
So
somewhere.
that's our vision. We're going to start at 40. So by the end of the year, I don't care who you are, whatever your broken bone, whatever it is, 40 people in this church by December 31st.
Amen. Amen.
Okay?
Mhm.
All right.
Amen.
You have to understand that whenever God says go back, He's not trying to tell you that, oh, just go back because I like when you walk. No. Going back is also breaking you into pieces, breaking you into not believing in yourself. You know, sometimes, I will say, sometimes I believe in my faith. Let me explain. I have faith that God will do this, but I don't believe in God. I believe in the faith that believes in God.
Yeah.
So I don't really believe in my
No,
faith.
that's true.
I believe
That's very true.
I believe in my strength to believe in God.
Mhm.
So when I pray, I'm praying not from the spirit, but I'm praying from my flesh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And sometimes when He's telling you to go back, He's trying to break that spirit of, because I believe in God, He's going to do it.
Yeah.
Now you have to say, because He is God, He's going to do it.
Yes.
Because He is the author of life, He's going to do it.
Amen.
And you have to go back. So touch your neighbor and tell him, go back.
Go back.
Go
Go
back.
back.
Tell him one more time, go back.
Go back.
Now, if you're like me and you have, how do you call it? You have plans like me, I have a plan to talk about my school. I already invited my pastors. You're probably thinking, oh man, I don't need to go back. I'm already good. I got something set up and God's going to move there. Let me show you what you miss out on. Let's go to Luke 10, verse 30. Okay, let's go over here.
And 30?
Yeah, 10:30. In reply, Jesus said, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. The priest, who represents the pastor, happened to be going to the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too a Levite, who represents us, the people in the pews, came to the place and saw him pass by on the other side. But the Samaritans are not people who believe in Jesus. They are worshippers of another. Well, they believe in God, but they don't believe in Jesus in this time. A Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and he saw him, took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, poured oil and wine, and then put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. When you have your focus on the event you already set, you miss on the people that are beside you. When you have your eyes set on that night, that event, you miss all the people that are beside you suffering. So you have to keep your focus on there, but also allow God to show you who is hurting around you.
Yes.
Because if you don't, you miss what He's doing beside you.
That's good.
You miss it. You really miss it. You cannot let your focus on one event prevent you from doing what God is calling you to do in this very moment.
Amen.
So touch your neighbor one more time. Tell him, go back.
Go
Go
back.
back.
Go back. Tell him, go back.
Go back.
Amen.
One more time.
Go back.
And I said that we're in this 8th year. God is about to do something in this church. We already have a goal of 40 people to bring to this church by December 31st. And I don't want you to take this message for granted. I'm almost done, like I told you before. But I don't want you to take this message for granted because it's not about me standing here preaching. It's about God telling you something. He prepared the ground all this first 6 months. Okay, we're in the second half of the year, and He wants to do something in this second half of the year.
Come
You have to understand
Yes,
that
He
He's
does.
ready. He wants to do something. He wants to do something. And here, verse 44 it says, the 7th time, the servant reported, a cloud, as small as a man's hand. Now, at first, when I was reading this, I thought it was like God's hand. Okay, so I thought it was really huge. But I missed the men's end. So the cloud was this, like, this big.
Yeah, little tiny
The
thing.
cloud was this big. And guess what Elijah says? Go back and tell Ahab, pick up your chariots and go
Wow.
before the rain stops you. What are you missing on because you think it's so insignificant? What are you missing on because you think it's so small? See, when you, a cloud like this big, okay, in the sky, in this huge sky,
Come
and
on.
Elijah would dare tell his servant, go back because the rain is coming. How small was that thing for him to go and tell a king, get ready for it's about to rain? The thing was super, like,
Yep,
it was small, bro.
yeah.
It was super small. But we miss it because we think, man, what is God gonna do with me?
Come on.
What is God going to do with what I have to offer?
Yeah, yeah.
But guess what? He formed you in the womb, okay? And what the gift you have, you're going to help other people.
Come on.
Your gift is never for you, it's for other people.
That's
And
right.
you cannot let the insignificant things in your life stop you from doing what God has called you to do. So let's stand up,
Amen.
because I'm done. We're going to pray,
Mm.
and then we're going to let God really do what He wants to do in us.
Amen.
Okay? Are you guys? They can say
Thanks.
Thank you.
Alright, let's pray. Father God, thank you for this message. Thank you because you're telling us that no matter how small, no matter how big, no matter how many times we went back to our promise, we're calling you to time to be we're not going to let go of the insignificant things in our life, Father God, because you use everything. You use everything. You know every hair. You know the number of every hair on our head, Father God. So those things, even what you think are insignificant are
Yes,
not.
Lord. Yes,
And we pray
Jesus.
that Lord, you start breaking.
Thank you.
You take and break, Father God, and you let us be what you call us.
Yes,
Help
Lord.
us be what you call us to be. Because you can't do it on our own. We know in Christ we can't, Father God. And this is the place, the best place to be. Rock bottom is the best place to be with you, Father God. So we pray that you help us go upward. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Thank you, Lord.
Amen.
Thank you, Jesus.